Is it required? Another question is whether it is required to have a Windows 7 device for testing. No, it is not required. The reason I'm using this device is because I found that it is a lot faster when you developing or debugging something. It is a lot faster to run your apps on the actual device than in the emulator. So with as far as the emulator is concerned, I just found it to be very slow. And maybe it is for the reason that my Windows 7 here is running in the virtual machine because I'm using Mac, and it doesn't have enough memory or whatnot. But the speed of being able to compile your WP7 app and deploy it to the phone, and step through the code when you debug, it's very nice, and it's very fast, and really provides everything that I would be looking for in a development environment. However, a device is not required. Okay, let's see the next question. Your API only runs on the client, though apps aren't running when you want to use the toast notifications, or I have misunderstood your subscriptions. To tell you the truth, I would need to dig in and learn more about toast notifications. I assume that there's got to be a client application that causes those toast notifications to occur, because unless there is something at the operating system level where you just instruct the operating system to, provide those toast notifications when something happens. My understanding from, let's say, Android is that the toast notification is something that is driven by the client app. So in that case, if it is exactly the same way on Windows Phone 7, then you can create a background app, and now Windows Phone 7 does support background apps, and create a subscriber there, and which will fire up those notifications as messages arrive. But if I'm wrong here, I apologize, and I really need to learn more about those notifications to give you a meaningful answer. But based on my understanding, that's how it would work. Would it be possible to set up a stream API for LDAP support on mobile devices through WebORB services? I believe so, absolutely. So the way that would work is you would create a server-side service, which is really just a facade for your LDAP directory. And then from the client side, you can send messages and invoke methods on that facade, which will turn around and just do the queries on the LDAP directory and return those results. And you just render that data on your phone. So I believe that it would be a really good fit for what we provide. Now you're talking about the Stream API. So here I'd like to ask for clarification whether you're talking about the data that frequently changes on the server and you just need to stream it back. In this case, you can just use data push and push those updates to the client. But if I misunderstood or if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, I would appreciate a clarification of your question. Okay, question is, how much do your tools for Windows Phone 7 development cost? Hopefully you'll like the answer. You can actually get this thing up and running and put it into production for free. WebORB has fairly flexible pricing policy, and we are fairly small, which we're actually proud of, and believe that anyone who is in a similar position needs to be able to start quickly with minimal cost. So for smaller deployments, when you run your server side on a single computer, you can just use it, for free. There's a licensing structure that we have called Community Edition. You apply for it, and you get a license that allows you to run WebORB for free. Also, we support deployment of WebORB into cloud environments, and you can connect Windows Phone 7 apps to your cloud deployments for WebORB running either in Azure or Google App Engine, or very soon Amazon EC2. And in that case, the pricing is fairly traditional to the cloud environments, where you pay for the amount of time that WebORB is up and running on your servers. And for something like Google App Engine, it is really just 5 cents an hour. So that's probably going to be the most cost-efficient way to get started, or just going with the Community Edition, which is free. Okay. All right, so there's another question. By the way, great question, guys. I really appreciate them. Do you think I should use WebORB for live betting web and mobile apps? I mean, live betting is based on thoughts to server invokes all connected clients. Now I'm using AJAX to client, frequently requests about new data, but data can come back to backend just in 5 minutes, so lots of requests are useless. I'm thinking to use WebORB because the advantage is the server invoke clients just in the yeah, exactly. This is exactly you're thinking exactly the right thing. So being able to invoke client side when you have that data is really the way to go, because this way it's going to be very efficient and your client will not be creating so much garbage traffic or really unneeded traffic. So I believe this is the way to go, and you will find that it's a lot more efficient, because with AJAX, even if you were to compress that XML stream, it's still going to be fairly verbose, and your data packets are going to be a lot larger than with WebORB, because in our case it is going to be highly compressed binary data delivered over HTTP. How do you make sure when your Windows Phone 7 client side can receive server callback after it's running in background or deactivated? What I assume that in order to make sure that it's receiving the server callback is you just provide the code that makes it, that basically wires into various callbacks that you get from the operating system. So let's say when the application is deactivated or is being deactivated, you unsubscribe. When the application is activated, you subscribe. And if application is not running, well, there's not a lot that you can do because the application is not running. Therefore, there's none of your code would be active at that moment. So, but other than that, I believe it would be a matter of tapping into the APIs of the operating system, into the life cycle of your app, just so you know when to turn on or turn off your subscribers. Let's see. So here, there's this follow-up question on the creating a stream API for LDAP on whether it would be better with Java or .NET. I believe either one would be fine. It really is a matter of which environment you feel more comfortable with. So if you're a .NETer, then creating .NET service would certainly be easier for you versus them creating something for Java. But either from the integration between the phone and server perspective, it is going to be really about the same. Okay, very similar technology to WebORB is Java WebSocket, but there is still HTTPS tunnel open. As far as actual WebSockets, WebORB for .NET already includes support for that. So you can actually create. You don't have to use our API, so you can use whatever WebSocket API you want to use, but all of the functionality that I described, including PubSub and data push, would be possible over WebSockets. However, as far as RTMP, I think there are a lot of benefits that you would find with that versus something like Java WebSocket. Plus, as this person said, there is HTTPS tunnel would need to be opened, and I believe that would be, pain in the butt. Okay. Is there any webinars or tutorials for developing mobile application using Adobe Air? I believe there's a lot. Adobe started a fairly serious push of Flex 4.5 with their latest release, and there's quite a bit of information available for that. As far as Adobe Air integration, pretty much everything that I described today, plus a lot more, would be possible with Adobe Air on all of the devices that Air can be deployed to, including video streaming. So video streaming would be possible today. Okay, there is a question. I own a Samsung Focus Windows Phone 7 phone, but I don't have development license. Could I develop and test on my phone? No. So to test it on your phone, you need to have a development license. That's one of the things that I forgot to mention. So it's definitely important. It will cost you, I believe, $99. So if you, but I believe in the time that it will save you, those $99 are definitely worth it, because the speed of developing with emulator versus the actual device is night and day. Do you support any tablet-sized devices? So as far as tablet size, anything that runs Android we support today. Anything that runs iOS, meaning iPad, we are planning to support with what we are doing for iOS. There is a question, do I need a license from Adobe for RTMPT? Absolutely not. So RTMP is an open specification. Adobe has opened it up a couple of years ago, and we're compliant with that specification. So you really don't need to pay any licensing fees for the technologies that we provide, and we're very serious about that because we don't want to put our users and customers into a situation where all of a sudden you need to pay some license fees. All right, so that's the last question that I see here. So if there are any more, I'll be happy to answer. But we are really out of time. I definitely want to thank everyone who participated today, and we will post this webinar recording of it on our blog very soon. All right, so there's one more question. IDC and Gartner predict Windows Phone 7 to be the second largest smartphone platform by 2015 because of Nokia deal. Do you believe that? I believe it has a lot of merit. So Nokia is no small player. They were definitely quite behind. But the pace that they will be moving now, and I hope they're going to pick up the pace, definitely gives me confidence that Windows Phone 7 will have a solid future. So now with Microsoft and Nokia behind Windows Phone 7, I believe that it's going to be I don't know whether it would be the second largest, but it will be one of the largest phone platforms. And the reason for that is because there is an army of .NET developers out there, and Microsoft is working quite hard on improving the platform. And you know, Apple is demonstrating what is possible and sets a good standard. And hopefully Microsoft is watching and you know, is learning on their mistakes. But I believe that you know, from the developer perspective, and as a developer, my experience of working with Windows Phone 7 was overall very positive. So it was, if you are familiar with .NET, developing something for your Windows Phone is fairly straightforward. And the fact that there are so many developers who are familiar with .NET, I think it's going to be beneficial, plus with Nokia behind it. But they will really need to come up with some really good ideas for the actual phones, because I don't think Nokia phones, or at least in the U.S., I know that in Europe they're definitely cooler, but in the U.S. they're kind of average. So it remains to be seen, but I'm not ruling it out. And otherwise we wouldn't be providing support for Windows Phone 7. All right, so I'll be closing out this webinar. Once again, thanks everyone, and you know, join our Facebook page. This way you can be notified when other future webinars will be announced. It's facebook.com/midnightcoders, or just subscribe to the RSS feed on our blog. Thanks again. Bye.